Okay, so right now I've just been working on the flippers. I filed down and readjusted the EOS contacts and the cabinet switches, and they're all working fairly strong now. They were absolutely terrible before. This one seems to be set wrong, as in it's basically resting on this peg. It's not. It needs adjusting up a little bit, because if we look, this one goes up further. So we just need to readjust that one a bit. This one needs a spacer, as it is dragging on the playfield. This one also needs a spacer, as it's dragging on the playfield. I think this one is okay. Yeah, that one's fine. So they're all working fine. I need a spacer, I need to adjust this one up a little bit, and that's the flippers dealt with. The kickers are not. That one's fairly sensitive. This one is not. Got to really press on that so it's not firing. We need to adjust the switches on that. That'll be fine. All the lamps are working. All the switches are working. All the drop targets are working. Spinner's working great. What else have we got? Need a bulb holder for that pop bumper. That one is very dodgy. We need to fix that display, as it basically only just flashes on zeros, doesn't actually work. What else have we got? I think we're nearly getting there. I feel like I've been working on this one forever, but it's kind of not far off. Let's think, was there anything else that we need to do? Well, yeah, we need to do the SCR for that lamp that's flashing up the top. I've got a bulb that's gone out in the back box. I'll deal with that as well. I think that's it for the getting it working phase. Obviously there's things that need doing, like still needs cleaning. This coin door needs resurfacing. I'll take this button off, fill it in, paint over, replace this horrible brown beehive. Same with the flipper buttons, they're pretty horrible. Get new flipper buttons. So there's a load of stuff that involves new parts. I am also going to get complete new flipper mechs at some point. So yeah, we're going to get loads of new parts for this. New plastics have arrived. I can actually fit that middle one now, because that is just silly. I don't like that at all. So yeah, we're getting there. Oh yeah, still need to work out what's going on with this top pump bumper. So these ones work fine. This one sticks down for ages. See, it's nice and free when you move it by hand, but after you fire it, it's being forced down. You've got to really push it to go back up. So is the transistor leaking and keeping it half magnetized? Is the plunger magnetized? So I don't know if this is an electrical or a mechanical problem yet. I don't think it's mechanical, because like I say, it's very loose when you move it by hand. I think, I'm going to guess leaking transistor, that's my guess, but we'll test it out properly, obviously. I just quickly swapped player 3 and player 4 displays over, just to check if it's the wiring or the display that's at fault. But yes, clearly the display, that display is bad. And here is that display out of the game, and it's pretty obvious what's wrong. That drive IC has a hole in it, so that has blown up. Let's I mean, we've got to test the transistors, make sure it's not got current leaking through this, which has caused that to happen, but we can replace that and potentially fix this display. I've desoldered that chip, stuck a socket in, ready for a new chip. Before we put a new chip in, we're going to test the transistors, make sure there's no shorts, allowing high voltage to basically go back to the IC. So I've been through and tested the transistors on that middle row there. Those are the ones that are directly connected to the IC. No shorts or anything weird. So I think we're good to go. So new IC, so I've just stuck it in the tester. Powering on. 4543. And it's a pass, so we're good to go. Let's stick that in and see if it works. Display back in. It's got numbers on it, so that's a good start. Let's put it in test mode. Okay, that was actually a fairly easy fix. Happy about that. Fantastic. So I also notice that the upper flippers need adjusting, so that should be the center line. So it should be like that. So So we'll loosen that off and adjust that. We'll have to put a spacer on that, don't forget. And same with this one. It's actually resting on the metal bar, but it should be about there. So we'll get that adjusted too. So as you probably know, all screws, hex keys, etc. are imperial size on pinball machines, and I could not get anything to fit these hex keys for the flipper poles. So I've just tried a 3mm, and that is a perfect fit. So somehow at some point this has been changed to metric on these poles, which means that these grub screws are probably mangled up the threads in here because they won't be the right thread size. So I think we're just going to replace these whole flipper mechs, but for now I just want to get it working, so I'm going to take this apart, so I'm going to adjust it and install some spacers. So I've 3D printed myself some spacers to use temporarily until we get the new flipper mechs. So these screw positions seem entirely wrong as well. So look, I've put this hex bit in where it needs to go to undo it. Even if you rotate it, it's still in the way of the switches. So even my smallest micro ratchet won't fit on that. So what we'll have to do instead is we'll use a spanner on the bit and hope it's not too tight. And we'll just, yeah, this is on the upper right flipper, so this is what I was expecting the screw positions to be like. So you can access them. You can move them out of the way of switch and you can access them both. There is an extra screw hole here. This one only has these 2 holes, and someone's put these metric grub screws in. So it seems entirely wrong. But this one will be fine to take apart. So I think I've adjusted the flippers as best we can until we replace the mechs with all new stuff. So I've moved this one out a little bit so the ball now fits down here as it should. This one's been raised slightly. I've put a 1mm spacer under that one, it's no longer touching the playfield. I've put 2mm of spacers and that one's no longer touching. I noticed this one was really close, so I've added a 1mm as well to this one. So I'm going to give it a try, see how that plays. Hot bumper lamp socket replaced, and the coil stop was the problem. That is now working. I need to look at these drop targets. The third one drops down on its own most of the time. Of course it pops up that time, but there you go, falls down on its own. Oh, 2 of them this time. So yeah, I need to have a look at that. I'm just looking at this drop target bank, and I'm just wondering if the number 3 and number 4 springs are a little loose. What we can do is just cut a few rings off and then bend one ring back out again to make the spring slightly shorter. We try that. So another issue we've got is that I don't think the kickers are sensitive enough, and I can't adjust them from the top, so we're basically just going to take the switches out from the bottom, and we will see that they are a bit too bent out, so we're going to straighten those up properly so we can start again from scratch, and we should be able to adjust them properly from the top. And let's have a look at this one. So yeah, same, pretty much too bent out, and that shouldn't be like that. I'll just show you what I'm aiming for. So I'm just trying to get them so that they're as straight as possible. It's impossible to get them 100% straight without doing what I did with the drop target ones and actually put them in a vise. But if we get them as straight as we can, so they're almost touching, and then from the top we'll be able to just bend this back slightly just to adjust it to get it perfectly right. So yeah, I've cut a little bit off that spring and then rebent it out just that much, and we'll see how that improves it, if at all, and then we'll do the 4th one if it does improve it. Right, let's test the drops out. So just that 4th one that fell down once. Yeah, so let's do the spring on that one as well. Right, test number 2. I think we fixed it. Right, I've just adjusted these slingshot switches so they're fairly sensitive but without machine gunning. If you've got them too close, the things will basically keep popping over and over again. So you want it to just fire once. And that is perfect. Perfect. So as we've got the back glass in and I've put a new piece of playfield glass on, I thought I'd just give you a quick look at what it looks like now in the dark. It actually looks half decent from this distance if you don't look closely at the playfield.